His first race, finished up with the second placing. Gary Sutton on his outside, he won't be held back for long. And David Lowe in this one. I hope Jason gets a stopwatch on this. We're in for a lung buster here, I think. Ron Starkey, Scotty Hunter, Cole Dovey, Brad Mitchell, John Triplett. We're off and racing. A very good start too as we come down the front straight. That's my opinion anyway. As we see Michael Caine lead the charge. On the outside of Michael Caine was Gary Sutton. Just a little bit off the pace on the start. Down the back straight they go. Michael Caine's got David Lowe right on his back bumper. Coming out of turn number 4 now, Michael Caine. Just a little bit of a touch there, I think. As we come down the front straight, we see Gary Sutton now on the outside of David Lowe, who carries Gary a bit wide. We got David Lowe getting a bit wishy-washy out of turn number 2, and that held up the other car there, and just trying to pick out who the other car is. There was Scotty Hunter in car number 71, and Scotty Hunter now in a bit of trouble in 4th place. Rob Starkey it is. Rob Starkey making some improvement on his first outing already. So the race leader is Michael Caine, the boy from Collie. He's come a long way to be here tonight, Michael Caine has. Blew the engine 3 weeks ago, and he's out there on an old engine that's been modified, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. Down the front straightaway. Second place is David Lowe, driving for Ausquip Industries and Lowe Transport. Gary Sutton, possessed with Speedway in car number 18. Gary Sutton can feel that his car is just a little bit faster than David Lowe's. Putting the nose up on the inside of Lowe as they go into turn number 3. Gary Sutton, then we go back then to Scotty Hunter. Scotty Hunter's in car number 71. Behind him comes Rob Starkey. Behind Rob Starkey, Peter Katona, John Triplett, Colin Dovey. Then it's car number 59. That's the Andrew Kirby car. Brad Mitchell, I think, was in there as well. But down the back straight away, we've got a car has spun. I don't know, he's still stuck on the curb. I think they'll see if he gets out of the way, but he's not going to. The yellows haven't yet come on. It's still green. The yellows have come on now, so a restart in this race. Oh, as we've got John Triplett gets mixed up there as the cars were getting wishy-washy. Well, Grant Woodhams. Oh.
Great race so far from Michael Caine out in front. I thought David Lowe might have the legs to get past him, but he hasn't at this point. And Gary Sutton also putting in some great shapes there. That was
back row very shortly. Also got a lot of kids here with the PCYC tonight, Grant. They've come up from Albany and come from Rockingham for the weekend, and they're here at the Speedway tonight. So welcome to the PCYC kids. We're about ready to go racing again on the restart. Michael Caine leads David Lowe, Gary Sutton, Scotty Hunter. Rob Starkey got spun around as they were going on the yellow light, and he wouldn't be too happy about that. But I don't think it was intentional by any means, knowing the driver that spun him around. Poor old Cole probably didn't even know Rob was ahead of him. But the race leader, Michael Caine's doing a great job. We're going to cross over to Jason very shortly to take you through the rest of this race with David Lowe in second and Gary Sutton third.
Yes, so halfway home here in heat number 7 of the national title. Michael Caine, the race leader from David Lowe, throw a blanket over the top 3. Gary Sutton right on their back bumper, and then back to Scott Hunter. So come out of Palmer's corner once again. Michael Caine 5 laps from home in the national title. David Lowe in second spot. And now David Lowe coming under attack from Gary Sutton. So come out of turn number 2 once again. As I said, you could throw a blanket over the top 3. Scott Hunter, then Rob Starkey, John Triplett. So pretty star-studded lineup past the smoke-free WA sign. David Lowe goes off the curb now. He's going to try and round him up on the outside. Michael Caine with 4 laps to go. Sutton on the inside. David Lowe is going to get stuck out half-track high, and now Gary Sutton comes underneath and takes second spot. Unbelievable stuff. So David Lowe goes back to third. Out of Pitts Bend once again. The race leader is still Michael Caine. Second spot is that of Gary Sutton. Back to David Lowe in third. Then we've got Hunter in fourth. That last lap was a 20.9. We've got one car in the fence. It's Peter Katona, and the yellow lights are on again. Well, it's all happening here in heat number 7.
I think the reason Peter might be on the fence is as a result of the previous incident he was in. Might have sustained a little bit of damage, I think, in that previous encounter. And I think perhaps some difficulties with the front end of the number 3 car. But what a great battle at the front. David Lowe tried everything to get past Michael Caine, was very brave, very bold, went up high and tried to get around the outside. Of course, when he did so, Gary Sutton, the wily old veteran, just said, okay, thank you very much, I'll come into position 2, and now Sutto moves up to position 2. So we've got 2 runners at the front of the pack, Michael Caine and Gary Sutton. Then back to David Lowe, Scotty Henner, Rob Starkey, John Triplett, Brad Mitchell, Andrew Kirby, Coldovi, and can you hear me, Fernando?
Oh, yes. Do you hear the drums, Fernando?
Yes, correct. But Michael Caine driving the race of his life in that car, the engine rebuilt by Scotty Thompson, and I think we're going to have a tow truck to remove the 6 car from the track, unfortunately, or the 3 car, the rebadged 3 car from the track. So Peter Katona coming to an unfortunate end for him.
And let's have a guesstimate, around 1,000, 1,100 people here tonight. Right behind him, stand by, 3 laps to go. Heat number 7 of the National Championship is all go. On the restart, Michael Caine, David Lowe is right up behind the 18er, Gary Sutton. Right up behind him is 71, Scott Hunter, then Rob Starkey, John Triplett, then Brad Mitchell. The next one through is Andrew Kirby, Coldovi, and last of all is Fernando Favaro as they come out of turn 4. Count them down, Collie, 2 laps to go, but it's not all over yet, because here comes the wily veteran of Gary Sutton, not to be denied. And right there in the Sigma also is David Lowe. And here comes Gary Sutton, not to be outdone. Fights on the inside and hits the front as they go into pits. Ben the second last time. Can Michael Caine get it down? He's gone back to second as Gary Sutton hits the front. Unbelievable stuff. Scott Hunter having a dynamic struggle for 4th spot. Michael Caine in 2nd spot. David Lowe 3rd. Back then to Scott Hunter, and then we've got Rob Starkey. Back then to John Triplett. But the wily old veteran, Gary Sutton, not to be denied. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. A great drive. Gary Sutton first across the line. Michael Caine is 2nd, then David Lowe. Scott Hunter for 4th. Back in 5th spot, Rob Starkey, John Triplett. Car number 43 is that of Brad Mitchell. Andrew Kirby is 8, Coldovi and Fernando Favaro. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. That was the race of the title so far as Gary Sutton takes it out from Michael Caine and David Lowe. The last 3 laps went down in 1 minute 3.994 as they come into the main straight, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, put your hands together, make some noise. What a race that was. Gary Sutton first, Michael Caine and David Lowe.
Yes, indeed, Jason. Absolutely great race. Phenomenal race from Gary Sutton, Michael Caine and David Lowe. Put together a huge performance. And really, Gary Sutton sat behind Michael Caine for a couple of laps, just watched his line, and then about 2 laps from home, took his car in a little wider than usual into turn 1. And was able to set himself up coming out of turn 2 and get underneath Michael Caine going down the